to be the generation to start it off to change that ineffective communication.
Yes, Lord.
This show is brought to you by Adrian Henry on that BS. Bologna sandwich.
Bible study.
A Bible study. No, this show is brought to you by Walker's Cafe and Grill, 109 UN Drive from 12 to 5. Walker's Cafe and Grill. If you want to meet in 3, 4, 5, and 6.
That was on point.
This show is brought to you by the Ephesian Primitive Baptist Church, 1506 22nd Avenue North, Nashville, Tennessee. Hook up, connect with us. This show is brought to you by Forever Zion, www.foreverzion.com. If you want paparazzi jewelry for your boo, your bae, your subordinate, your sister, your cousin, Nuck Nuck, Ray Ray, Bam Bam, and all of them, go to www.foreverzion.com. This show is brought to you by Trifold Outreach Ministry. That's Trifold Outreach Ministry. That is Trifold Outreach Ministry. Trifold Outreach Ministry, 49 Dry Creek Road, Goodlettsville, Tennessee, on the 2nd and the 4th Sunday. Thank you for our wonderful sponsors. And last but not least, this show is brought to you by Hit by the Brick on that BS, y'all, bologna sandwich, talking about communication, and he is the first one to cut you off for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, not hours, but weeks at a time. And we are back to this lovely live conversation, Hit by the Brick, the sauce, and now I've been traumatized. I got a doctor in the house.
Yes, sir.
Who wants to talk? Because I'm done. I'm done with you.
So,
I'm done with you.
he
I'm
done
done
with
with you.
Why he done with me?
I'm done with you. Because Sauce taught me to be hard for the last 9, 10 years of my life. Fight.
Okay.
Swing.
Okay.
Punch.
All right.
Kick, scratch, stab, cuss. Throw them hands. Sauce.
Yeah.
I'm not about Sauce. Now, you know, man, let's talk. Talk.
But
Let's talk.
But let's be real.
No. What? Hold on. What my man say?
slow down.
I know. Listen, I know we on the gospel station,
All right.
but you know it's still at my shoulder. Y'all see?
Yeah.
The world is still right here, and my shoulders are collarbone.
All right.
It's right here in my jaw.
But what's in
sometimes.
your heart, though?
It's the gospel is in my heart.
See, it takes
But
a
see-
lot of energy to stay mad.
Right. And
It
then
takes a lot of anger.
And then that gets you nowhere. It
Hey.
gets you nowhere when you are just filled and fueled with that anger and that negativity. And I think that, and Sasha, you can agree with me, which I feel like you will. If we are going into talking a lot about manifestation, right? And the relationships and the things that you want to have, the things that you desire, is going to be coming from your thoughts and the things that you say. So if you are constantly thinking negative thoughts about your relationship or about another person or about communication, then you're gonna have a relationship that's not really a success because you're not speaking success into it. And that's if we're talking about, you know, ineffective communication. So that's why it is important that if you were taught to be hard, to like not talk about it and to just hold it in like we know families do, first of all, that is going to affect you mentally because you don't need to hold all of that negativity and that trauma in. We have enough stuff going on from our ACEs score, adverse childhood experiences that we're dealing with, that taking it into a relationship as an adult, my baggage and their baggage, and we not communicating, that is a perfect, that's like a perfect disaster. That's just a disaster waiting to happen. What y'all think?
I think you're right.
I agree.
Go ahead, Saul.
I second that. Like, I second that. Okay, so when you come from a hurt childhood and you try to find a spouse to fix that pain, it's a road for destruction.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your spouse didn't deserve the treatment that you're giving them because your parents hurt you or made you cover up hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So when we're talking about love languages,
All right, here we go.
your love language
Uh-huh.
may be what it is because of your trauma and your things. And so because I was not equipped, we are not all counselors, therapists, you know, fully licensed for this. So in a relationship, I'm not equipped to handle your trauma and your whatever, which is what caused you to have your love language. I'm not equipped to do that because I have my own set of things that you may not be equipped to handle. So if we're not handling those together and communicating together, we're gonna be a mess.
It's gonna be a mess.
We're
A
gonna
hot
be a
mess.
mess.
It is.
A hot mess.
And that mess is gonna trickle down to our children.
And so guess what? We have to get to a point in life that says, hey, I'm willing to be in this relationship. I'm willing to tell you that I love you, to work hard. If I'm not, Hill said it there. He said, if I'm not a communicator, well, you got to learn and grow to that particular point if you really are truly loving that person that you say you want to be with.
So when will we all be open and honest about our hurt, to where we don't care if we're judged, we don't care if we're looked at differently, we don't care if we don't get a fair shot? Like, we have to be that vulnerable again to open up and be willing to be left, either giving a person a decision to leave us alone or to work with us with our love language, with our communication state. Because like y'all was saying before, parents in the older generation, they didn't hug and kiss, they didn't hold hands, they didn't say I love you out loud. Like, but you knew that you was loved because you had a roof over your head. You knew you was loved because you had food on the table. Like, that was just some ways of how people was brought up. It doesn't mean that you was loved less or you was loved out of survival, but that was just their way of showing love.
I think
Don't move. Hold on. Doc, you said something that I have to revisit. My love language possibly came from my ACEs, adverse childhood experience. Cool. I'm agreeing to that.
I like that.
If I marry love language, words of affirmation,
All right.
but my love language is totally different. She comes into the relationship, she heard all her life, hey beautiful, hey princess, you're a darling, you're gorgeous, I love your hair, let's go get our nails done, let's go get a pedicure and a manicure at 5 years old. So she's comfortable with that love language. That's her thing.
Right.
From her experiences. But I came from a different set of bricks where I didn't hear that. And you're telling me to communicate with somebody who's very communicable, but I was not told nor taught, nor did I see that in culture, because I allowed the streets to raise me.
Okay.
And now I'm switching gears from the 80s rap, from Eazy-E to the Ghetto Boys.
Yeah.
The 90s, I'm doing Master P and Jay-Z. And now I'm into mumble rap. I don't even know what they be saying. I'm just saying.
But even-
I'm not ready. Listen, I'm not ready. I'm married,
Right.
but I'm not ready to communicate. So help me with helping myself understanding I have somebody, one of them, who understands words of affirmation.
All right.
But you chose a person that's not his strength. Now what? We have confusion and calamity in every evil work.
Doc, you want to take it?
Yeah, I think that if you are in a relationship and you took those things into it, and you realize that, hey, there's a drift, there's something going wrong, and we're maybe not reaching our peak in our relationship, you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to make some changes, even if that's not how you have been for a lot of years. If you know that something is wrong or something is different, you got to be willing to do things. You got to be willing to change, or your relationship isn't going to go to the next level. And it's not just relationships. And then I'll give it over, because one thing that you said was that you were comfortable. Nothing good happens in the midst of being comfortable. You have to be willing to get
Now, watch
uncomfortable
this.
to be able
Yes,
to,
exactly.
explode whatever.
The word changed even when you started naming Eazy-E, Ghetto Boys, and all that. Even in the midst of that, your music in today's time has changed. Those ones that you used to listen to, you don't listen to them no more. You have gotten to the point where you do listen to a little mumble rap, or you just completely cut it off and you just started listening to gospel, since we're on the gospel station. but you have to be real with yourself. You have to want to change, and I think there's another word that we're missing that really will help us with this situation, and it's love.
No, I disagree, but I'm just.
How you
You gotta
disagree?
trust the situation.
You have to want to.
Trust is what I'm missing.
You have to trust it.
So now we at trust,
Okay, so
which is the second word of having a good relationship.
So with trust, you have to understand your partner is for life. If you made those vows and that covenant under God that you are willing to make those beneficial changes, that everything is going to work out for his good. Like, you married your partner for a reason. I hope trust was one of those reasons.
I hope love was one of the main reasons. Because you loved her enough to say, hey, I want to take your hand. I want to take the place of where you were hurt.
Oh, hold on. So, and you have to be willing to go against the grain. So you have to be willing to go against your parents. You have to be willing to go against your culture. You have to be willing to go against everything that you've known to be comfortable
Right.
in the
You gotta
past.
get uncomfortable.
You have to really be focused on that one thing that you really want to grow in.
Right. Which is,
Love.
you got to get back to love. I don't know why we just heal. I don't understand why you're taking
You
everything
just wanna be
out.
difficult.
Yeah, you want to talk about, I don't know if I trust, I don't do love supersedes everything. If you don't love, you can't trust, you can't communicate, you can't do nothing.
It's your time
Point
now
blank.
to break those generation
We got
curses
2 more minutes.
that
2 more
you
minutes. Here we
was
go.
once raised upon. The Bible even has been rewritten several times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to adjust. You got the old,
Oh yeah, and real quick,
old testaments.
you
You have to adjust to time. Nothing stays the same. Even when you're in church, nobody wants to be traditional.
Right. And so love, communication, everything changes. Our bodies, we get older, everything changes. So what I'm going to leave you with is that if you are in a relationship and you're struggling with your love languages and all those things, nothing changes if nothing changes. So you have to.
Also,
Nothing
If
changes
nothing
if nothing changes.
if nothing changes,
I like
what?
that, Doc.
If nothing changes, also here to push you back, and we're getting ready to get up out of here. You got to remember, when you get up in the morning, you tell your significant other that, hey, I love you, you're beautiful. That's not a love language. If you read the book and
Just saying it's not a love language.
when you come from the book, when you read the book, Gary Chapman in the book of 5 love languages, he simply says that when you tell somebody that they look good, they're beautiful, whatever, you got that coffee in the morning, that is not a love language. That's just being generous. And so he says that you cannot take generosity and switch it into a love language, because it's not a love language. So that answers your question on that.
What are the 5 love languages again? I forgot.
You got emotions, you got...
No, pull
I
them
mean, it's
up
like
real fast.
gifts. I think
phone?
it's giving
phone,
gifts,
Dr. Guy?
receiving gifts,
My phone's dead.
touch and affection, words of affirmation,
Yeah.
Acts of service.
and acts of service.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's small things, but it's big to everyone. We just don't speak on it, and that's how women lose emotions. They stop nagging. When they stop nagging, they're not there with you mentally.
Yeah.
You know what the Bible says about a nagging woman,
Here
though.
we go. Here we go.
I'm just saying.
I know.
What does it say?
I try not to get
Proverbs.
Here we go.
Next week on the Yak, the Yolanda and Cornelia
And I
show.
sought the Lord.
Hey y'all, we've been hit by the brick.
Yes, sir.
We put a little sauce on it, and
Yeah.
guess what? We've gone to the doctor.
Got to.
Thank you for tuning in to the Yak, the Yolanda and Cornelius show.
Peace. Look.
Y'all did good. Y'all cut up.
Cut up.
Yeah. Good.